Good morning, dear student. I'm a science teacher, DPS sir, and students of class 8. Today, I'm going to revise the chapter lesson 10, Force and Pressure. All of my dear student, you know very well that due to heavy cold, DM has ordered the school to be closed up to 8th of January. So you all students, you must not forget your duty, your work while staying at home. You must take your book, prepare it for your coming exam, as well as listen the lectures of your teachers provided by you during these durations, and keep yourself busy in studies. So, student, I am going to revise lesson 10, Force and Pressure, which has already been taught in the class. So, dear student, you know very well what is force. If you want to move any object, if you want to lift any object, if you want to stop any object from moving, so we should have to apply force. Force is such invisible energy which is applied for doing various tasks. Suppose that if you are opening the door, if you are opening or closing your class door or home door, so while opening you are pulling it, while closing you are pushing it. So you must remember, while pushing or pulling, there is a requirement of force, and force is applied to pull or push that object, and that force is applied by your body in the form of energy. The energy which you are applying to push or pull the door, that is the force which you are applying. So students, there are many functions of force. Just like by applying the force, we could move a stationary object. Suppose a duster is not moving, it is at proper place, it is not moving. But if I will apply a force, it will get displaced, means it will change its position. So to change its position, what I have done, I have applied the force. So that means by applying force, we can move a stationary object. Suppose a ball is rolling and coming towards you. You used your leg to stop that ball, to stop that rolling or to stop that moving ball. You applied the force in its opposite direction to stop the motion of that object. That means number one, I have told we are applying force to make a stationary object move. We are applying force to stop a moving object. We can apply a force to change the shape of any object. Suppose that you have taken a rubber band. If you will stretch the rubber band will be will change its shape. Take a sponge. When you press it by applying force, that shape of that sponge will be squeezed. And as well as when you remove the force, it will again come back to its original form. That means by applying the force, we can change the shape or size of any object. Suppose a person is cycling and from behind you just pushed him. He was already moving and from behind you pushed him. So what will happen? His motion, the speed of his motion will increase because a extra force, he was already applying his muscular force by pedaling, but as soon as you from behind pushed your external force which you have applied on him, his cycle speed will become more faster. That means here one more thing you come to know, by applying force we can change the speed of any moving object. Same way it's opposite. If any object is moving, suppose that a person is cycling, from behind you just pulled the carrier of that moving cycle. So what will happen? His speed will become slower. That means by applying force, you can, what you have done? By applying the force, his speed has become slower. That means we have seen that by applying force, we can speed up any body or we can retard its motion, means we can slow down that moving object. Okay. And the next is that by applying the force, you can change the direction of any moving object. For example, suppose that you are playing, what you can say, badminton. One person is striking the cock from one side and the cock is, or you can say feather is going towards your side, and by applying the force from this side, that coming feather will return back. That means it is changing the direction. So by applying force, you can also change the direction of a moving object. So student, again I am going to revise it, that what you can do by applying force. By applying force, we can make the stationary object move. By applying force, we can stop a moving object. By applying force, we can change the shape of an object. By applying force, we can change the size of an object. By applying force, we can accelerate any moving object. By applying force, we can retard, means what you can say, de-accelerate. We can slow down any moving object. And the last one is that by applying force, we can change the direction of a moving object. So students, these are all the properties what could might be done by applying force. Okay students, the next is that now the student next topic is there are two types of forces. One is the muscular force and other is the non-muscular force. Sorry, not that. There are two type of forces that I have told you, that one is the contact force, other is the non-contact force. That means let us talk about the contact force. Student, there are certain forces which could only be applied when one body comes in contact with the other body. Suppose you were sitting in your class on your place and the teacher told to just close the door or open the door. So can you, without touching the door, can you move or can you open or close the door, student? No, extremely not. Because to open the door or to close the door, you must have come in contact with that door, and you have to apply your body muscular force to open or close the door. That means here whatever force you have applied, muscular force. That means you have applied a muscular force to open or close the door. So this muscular force is a type of contact force. Means muscular force could only be applied when one body will come in contact with the contact with the other body. That means when you touch the door, that means your body is coming in touch with the door. So when two objects came in contact, there the force has been applied. Otherwise, on sitting your place, you can't open the door or close the door. That means here the force which you have applied is what type of force? Contact force. So muscular force comes under the contact force. The next example of contact force, student, is the mechanical force. When the motor moves, suppose that, then the blade of the fan starts moving. That means here also you can see when one thing moves, then only the other things, means the thing which depend on that only moves when there is a motion in its inner part. That means this is called the mechanical force. Okay, just like suppose that while driving, your tire, your wheel moves. So when your wheel moves, when you will paddle, then your wheel starts moving. Otherwise, just only on sitting on the cycle will not move unless and until a force either from external side or by your own or by any motor, that is called mechanic force, is applied. So student, mechanical force is also an example of contact force. Now students, suppose that you are just driving bike or car, or you are cycling, and suddenly you want to stop your bicycle, bike or car. So you have to apply what? Brake. So your moving vehicle, whether it's a car, bike or bicycle, will come to halt, will come to stop. How? Student, you know, on your tire there are grips has been made, and as well as the surface, the upper surface of the street or road is also rough, not smooth like a mirror. And both the rough surface, when comes in contact with each other, and the force which is trying to stop the moving object from in the, and that force is acting from the opposite direction. Suppose cycle is moving to this direction, and the force will act opposite to that moving cycle. As soon as you apply the brake, the tire will stops moving, the wheel will stop moving. So here is also a force which comes in contact when the wheel come is moving on the street floor. So the upper surface of the floor of the street and the tire grip, when they both comes in contact, there a force acts, and that force is called the frictional force. So student, like this way, I have given you the three names of contact force, that is the muscular force, mechanical force and frictional force are the three examples of contact force. Now students, let us know about the non-contact force. What type of forces which we can apply without coming in contact with the other object. Just for example, student, if you are throwing a chalk, it will return back to the earth surface ground. Okay, or suppose you have dropped a chalk from the second floor or from the first floor of the class of your school. It will go straight to the ground because there a force is acting on that dropping object, and that force is not coming in contact with that object, but from the distance it is attracting. Okay, means that there that force is acting without coming in contact with that object. For example, that is the gravitational force. Suppose that you are sitting under a mango tree and mango has fallen down. So what type of force is there that the mango is falling toward the ground, not going up? There the force which is acting without coming in contact, and that force is called the gravitational force. Next one more force I am going to give the example of non-contact force is the magnetic force. Suppose on a table you have dropped few pins, pin, which is made up of metal like iron, or suppose nail you have dropped on that table. You have taken a magnet and just above few feet or few centimeter, without touching that metallic nail or pin, that object just get attracted towards the magnet. So you can see, without coming in contact, there a force has been arised which attract the nails toward the magnet. Have you touched the magnet with that nail? No. There was a gapping, and from that gapping, the nail has got attracted with the magnet. So there is also a force without any contact. That is the magnetic force. So student, magnetic force is the force which comes under non-contact force. Next student, one more example I am going to give you about the non-contact force is the electrostatic force. Electrostatic force. Suppose you take a comb and just rub in your dry hair and tear bits of paper and put it on a table and bring the comb near to it. Don't touch it. Just from the above you will see that the bits of paper is getting attracted, getting clicked to that comb. How? This is how, because there is a force acting which is called electrostatic, because while rubbing the comb on your hair, that comb has got charged, and due to the charged comb, that comb is able to attract the bits of paper without touching it. So this is also an example of non-contact force. So student, today I have I have revised you the topic of the force, and student, on the next day, in my next class, I will revise you the portion of pressure. Till then, thank you student. Listen the video carefully and be safe at your home because the weather is not good, and revise the exam portion for your upcoming exam. Thank you student. Have a nice day.